Hi and welcome to Hearthside. My name is Michelle and I'm the writer on this blog. Just ignore the background noise. I have the window open, it's a nice day and there are quite a few birds outside. So this particular blog that I am going through today, just to make the accessible copy on this video, is called Childhood Traditions and the Fae. And what really inspired me with this was, at the time I was working at a Montessori school, and the owner of the school was a Christian, and around Christmas time she would use Elf on the Shelf in order to get children to behave in the classrooms. And I was giving it a lot of thought about when I have my own children and how I felt about different traditions, especially since my home is an interfaith hearth. And so trying to think about how to respect my husband's traditions as well as mine, and what that would look like if we had children. So I really have a problem with Elf on the Shelf, and I think first of all it's creepy. It sort of gives children the idea that it's okay to have like surveillance on them. Also, the elf itself is just really creepy. Like, what the heck? It moves around at night and like plays tricks and looks creepy and is like reporting on you. Like, I don't know, the whole concept is just really creepy. And then there's like videos that go along with it, and like it's very manipulative. Like, the kids are not allowed to touch the elf or it loses its magic, and then you have to like pretty much perform a ritual in order to get the magic back. And I don't know, it sits wrong with me. So I was thinking at the time when I was working there, I'm like, well, whatever, like the parents seem to be okay with this, but if it was my child and I found out they were doing that in their school, I think I'd probably actually change schools. I don't think that that's appropriate to just be doing in a classroom. If you're doing it at your home, I mean, that's your home, not my call what you're doing in your own house. But yeah, I'm very uncomfortable with it. And that sort of led me down a tangent about like how we view elves and the fae in mainstream society in modern times, and other childhood traditions that are similar, and the main one being, of course, the Tooth Fairy. So another tradition I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with my children participating in. So you're selling your body parts to the fae. Like, is this something we should be encouraging our children to do? I realize like that if I have a kid and they're going to a public school or whatever, they're going to be exposed to that, and they'll be asking questions like, why don't we do this? And I think my workaround for that is going to be, I'll tell my kid that I'll pay them for their teeth so that they don't give them to the fairies. Like, I think that's the best way to deal with that, because then they're still getting money so they can still talk about it with their friends at school and not feel left out, but not encouraging them to sell body parts to the fae. That just seems like a bad plan. And then the other tradition that I was talking about is St. Patrick's Day. Now, I have really mixed feelings about St. Patrick's Day because obviously, like, there's the element of St. Patrick driving the snakes out of Ireland, which is a cleverly veiled way of saying the pagans, but also we had a really fun tradition in my household when I was a child, because we're part Irish, and there was a tradition that at St. Patrick's Day, the night before, we would have a special milk pitcher that we would fill with milk on St. Patrick's Day. So the day before, we would set out the pitcher for the next day, and then it was said that the leprechaun would come in the night, and then if we poured milk into that pitcher in the morning, it would turn green because of the leprechaun. So that was like probably one of my best childhood memories of family tradition. And so, like, I always have these very, very mixed feelings about St. Patrick's Day. So, like, I feel like that tradition, as far as involving the Fae, it's fairly harmless, and that one would be one I'd be willing to continue, although I'm still on the fence about the whole St. Patrick's Day holiday. But that particular tradition, if it was on its own, I think that's one that I'd be comfortable with continuing, unlike the Tooth Fairy or this Elf on the Shelf, which luckily I did not participate in when I was younger. But like this, the whole Christmas thing is related to the Fae as well, because like Santa Claus is what, like some sort of big jolly elf or something as well. So yeah, there's like a lot of things to think about with different holidays in our household, and how to balance the heathen and the Christian elements, and the possibility of creating our own traditions that are maybe specific to just us. So there's always a lot for us to talk about. We've had these conversations quite a few times before, and I'm sure we'll have them quite a few more times, even before we have a child. And just, yeah, it's really exciting. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share in this one. I hope that gives you some ideas for your own hearth. See you next time.